Hey, nerdy sports fan, we're talking Week 16 NFL action and the final Monday Night Football game that matters for fantasy football, as is the championship week for fantasy. I'm in that round. You should be if you listen to me. This week we've got the Minnesota Vikings hosting the Green Bay Packers. And this is big for the playoffs. It really is. The winner of this game likely goes on to win the division. And that matters a lot. It matters so much. They both have honest chances at getting their hands on first round buys. There's a lot of up in the air things at the top of the NFC right now. And that's where either one of these teams will find themselves with a win this week. So getting home field, getting a first round bye, really, really big for the playoffs. I think the last 4 or 5 Super Bowl champions have had the first round bye. It matters. All right, wild card teams rarely even make it to the Super Bowl, let alone win it. So you want to get that bye week, and that's what they're playing for. Having a Monday Night Football game matter this much this late in the season, man, I wasn't expecting it with some of the stinkers we had earlier in the year, but flex scheduling does its job. Yeah, so the Vikings lost Dalvin Cook last week. That's huge for both real football and fantasy football, because in both cases, they actually found the savior. Boone, the preseason All-Pro, stepped up big with 2 touchdowns last week. And I expect that to continue. Cooks is great. They need to give that man a break. All right? They need him for the playoffs. And Boone proved that he can do some damage last week. So they need to give him the rock and treat him like he's Dalvin Cook. All right? Boone is a must start. He is a must add. I don't care who your other running backs are. Boone is better than one of them for this week. He will make or break your fantasy football championship round. I cannot stress it enough. There are maybe 4 running backs in the league that I start over Boone this week because it is the fatal flaw in the Packers defense, the rush defense. Boone is available in almost all leagues for whatever stupid frickin' reason. People weren't watching football this weekend. They didn't understand that the starting running back of one of the best rushing attacks in the league went down and his replacement balled out. If you are paying attention, pick up Boone now. Put him in your starting lineup. If it's not Christian McCaffrey or Ezekiel Elliott, you're starting him over them, okay? Put him in your lineup. He will win your championship. Trust me. Boom. I'll say his name 17 more times by the end of the video because it needs to sink in. Pick him up, start him. So, Minnesota is in a good place in this game. They've been on fire ever since, I want to say, week 5. They finally pulled their head out of their ass after Adam Thielen called out his quarterback publicly. They started playing a more Kirk Cousins friendly style, and it's worked. Okay, he's one of the best play action quarterbacks in the league. They're leaning on the run, but they get the play action involved much more often, and he's taking advantage of that. So, we were worried about Thielen's injury. That shouldn't be a problem. But Cook's shoulder certainly is. And his primary backup, Alexander Mattison, has a bum ankle. So third string Boone is starting with a great offensive line in front of him and a Packers defense that has a problem against the run. Start Boone once again. Kirk Cousins will likely not have the greatest game. They're going to rely on the running attack. They're at home against a team weak against the run. If they don't rely on the running attack, I mean, Gary Kubiak's their offensive mastermind here. So, yes, they are going to lean on the run. That won't be a problem. So, fantasy stats for receivers and quarterbacks for Minnesota might be down this week. Running back, Boone, once again, will be up. Packers need to run their offense through Aaron Jones. And everybody else loses a bit when they do that. So Aaron Rodgers, not an number one start. There's half a dozen quarterbacks better than him to start. Devontae Adams, same thing. You know, he was second round talent, a wide receiver for the draft, but not so much. All right. Valdes-Scantling takes enough away from him, and they need to rely on the running game. So he doesn't get the targets. So there's better options than him, I'm sure. He's more of a wide receiver 3 in this matchup. Valdes-Scantling, same thing. Wide receiver 3 in this matchup. Aaron Jones needs to be what they funnel their offense through in order to be the best version of themselves. So he's absolutely going to get fed. All right? He needs to be started. And in fact, if it was just these two running backs, these are probably the top 2 running backs just because of usage. But Aaron Jones is going to have a harder time than Boone will. The Vikings are far better against the run than the Packers are. And since both teams need to rely on their running attack to win, advantage Vikings. I have the Vikings winning this game actually pretty handily. So they're 4.5-point favorites. That's deserved. I still bet the Vikings. I think they win by more than that. Again, start Boone. Pick him up. He's available in more than 90% of leagues, and he's going to blow up. I expect Cooks, with the shoulder injury cropping up 2 weeks in a row, to be riding the pine, and Boone to be out there. Pick him up now. Keep an eye on the injury report, obviously. Make sure he's starting. But that man will make or break your fantasy championships. Like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. Check out the rest of the videos for more fantasy advice. You won't get anything more important than what I'm telling you about Boone, but you can get some gems in there, I'm sure. Thanks for watching, guys.